Tampa Bay at Detroit. Simon, I think this has to be our foxhole. We leaned Bucks on Tuesday, didn't pull the trigger. We hadn't done all of our diligence yet. It was 7 at the time. I think it cost us half a point in value. I think we both still like the Bucks a lot here. If you can find a 7 at somewhere, take it. The majority of the bets are coming in on the Lions. That's why I'm thinking it's got to be our foxhole. Uh, Detroit got outgained by the Rams. And if you look at the matchup, Baker Mayfield is going to torch this Lions secondary. And everyone knows what Todd Bowles is going to do. He does not disguise it. Blitz, blitz, blitz. There's one thing Jared Goff has not been as effective against. It's the blitz. It's extra pressure. I feel like we got to go with the Bucks.
Yeah, my model likes the Bucks. I wanted to take the Bucks. It just sucks all the pushback I got where I get where the pros are coming from, why they love the Lions here. No one thinks the Bucks are a better team, right? The Lions are obviously the better team. They deserve to be this big of a spread number, but me and Chad just think it's too high. That's why I want to take the Bucks. As simple as that. We're just playing the numbers here. So yeah, I guess Lions fans are just very sensitive right now because they haven't been in this position. They haven't won a playoff game in 30 years, and they're kind of puffing their chest out. And they quickly went from this lovable underdog character. So I think every NFL fan kind of hates them now, a week into the playoffs. It's too much, Lions fans. Like, I don't know. They're being aggressive. Like me and Chad, it's all business here. It's all business. Like I got nothing against the Lions. We're not begging you to take the Bucks on the money line. We're just telling you to cover this number. Like that's the key here. It's like the number's too big. We think it should be closer below 6. It's 6.5, 7. Like Chad said, a couple books, you can still get 7s. How can we not take that number? Like this team, the back door is always open. And people point to they played early in the season. Me and Chad were on the Bucks. Yes, people kept reminding us that we took the Bucks there against this Lions team at home. They lost 20-6, and I went back and watched it. And my biggest takeaway was it was just a bad Baker game. Baker
Yeah.
played terrible in that game, and they were just never going to be in it. Baker can't play. So same goes here. If Baker lays an egg, yeah, of course the Lions are going to dominate and win this game. But Chad just talked about it. It's like their secondary can be moved on. Um, they're not a team that is going to shut down other offenses. They're a team that needs to outscore you. And that's the fear with backing the Lions here. It's just like, are we going to get the same exact thing that happened last week where Goff looked incredible in the first half and then just totally fell off a cliff after a team that made the adjustment for the second half? Like that really did happen. He put up 3 points at home against that Rams team. He did struggle in that second half. As much as I like to make fun of these dinosaur coaches like Todd Bowles, I expect him to be able to make adjustments to give Goff problems. So, Chad, you've talked me into it. I did get bullied pretty hard about this, where people are like, "You guys got to stop overthinking this and just taking this Lions team," because the shotgun out of pros do like the Lions here. I can't get there at this big of a number, like especially at the 7, just feels way too big. So, yeah, the Lions team have to do what they did last week against the Rams. Their defense got to, what I talked about, they got to play like the old school football style. They got to be rough. They got to be hitting guys every play. They got to be all over Mike Evans and Godwin's. And, that's how they could win this game, is stopping those two guys. But me and you are betting they won't be able to. And like, I feel confident in doing that when you look at the numbers. It's just how bad they are against the pass. I mean, we just saw what Puka and Cooper did. Mike Evans and Godwin aren't there far of a step down. Like these guys are such producers, especially Mike Evans had such a bad week last week, Chad. I love that bounce back spot. I know we don't do props on here, but I do love Mike Evans props this upcoming week. I like his anytime touchdown. I like his over receiving yards. It's just a great bounce back spot for a Hall of Famer who just had a bad week last week. And he talked about this week in interviews. It's like he wants to get that back. Oh, there we go. Stucky's on Godwin overs. It's like
I was just gonna say Stuckey is on Godwin's over longest reception. Folks should listen to Stuckey and Raybon on the Action Network Thursday episode because they went deep, deep, deep on a breakdown of this game from the perspective of the Lions secondary against Baker and the Bucks. And a reminder, the last 4 games, the Lions defense has given up Stafford, 367 yards. Puka, 181 yards receiving. Nick Mullins, 396. Justin Jefferson, 192 yards receiving. Dak, 345 yards throwing. CD Lamb, 227 yards receiving. And then that previous game against Minnesota, Nick Mullins, 411 yards passing. JJ, Justin Jefferson, 141 yards receiving. Last week, Cade Otton, who has become America's sweetheart as a tight end, he was the Action Network pick of the week. So many player props were won on Cade Otton, including Matt Mitchell and Evan Abrams and Stuckey with a listener at a random bar betting Cade Otton alt lines, live lines on Monday night. You just have to expect another big game from the receivers in this matchup. And I think that's what keeps the Bucks close, because you said it in that first game, like Baker just missed a lot of balls downfield.
No, he laid it to a leg, and that's the fear, and that's why I think I'm getting pushback from guys who like Detroit here, where it's like I'm investing too much in Baker after one of Baker's better games. But if you really go into the numbers last week, Baker did play really well, but it wasn't like his best game ever, right? He just took advantage of the opportunities the Eagles were giving to him, and that's why we like Baker. It's like we talk about his grit, and he's just a constant pro. Where it's like I like where Baker can go over 5 throwing, and it does not fade him. He still has the confidence as if he just went 5 for 5 throwing. It's like the guy just does not get shaken that way. And another amazing stat from Evan. Again, it's a small sample. Baker in his career is undefeated against the spread in the playoffs, right? Like he covers in the playoffs. He's always a little bit underrated. So this feels again like he's a little underrated here. I have this number 5.5. It's 6.5, 7. We love to take that value there, especially on crossing key numbers here, like 6.5 and 7. So yeah, unfortunately, our book is showing 6.5, so that's what we'll have to play. But like Chad said, there's a bunch of 7s out there you can go get, people.
I do think come Sunday, this will be back at 7. I would wait on this one because the money's going to keep coming in on the Lions. They are America's sweetheart team. They are a public team. We've seen these lines move as games have gotten closer to kickoff. I would hold off. We saw it last week. The Chiefs went from 4 to 4.5 to 5 to 5.5 against the Dolphins. If you like the dog here, give it a second. But the Bucks plus 6.5 will be our foxhole.